I'm going to use the back side of this 8x10 frame to create our Easter frame. You do want to cover the entire frame in a white paint. The backdrop of the frame does not need to be perfect because that is where we're going to place our napkin, but you do want to make sure that you cover the walls, the face, and the sides of the entire frame in that white paint. Once you have it all painted, you just want to dry it if you have a heat gun. If not, you can let it air dry. The next step is going to be to add Mod Podge to the back of the frame. This is where our napkin is going to go, so you just want to cover that fully, dry that, and then you're going to take your napkin. I am using this pastel plaid napkin. Center it in your frame, figure out which portion of the napkin you're going to want to use, and then once you figure that out, you just need to cut it out into the size of the frame so that it can fit directly into that insert. Most napkins come in 2-ply or 3-ply, so once you finish cutting out your napkin, you do want to be sure to remove those plies. This one is just a 2-ply. If you aren't able to get it peeled apart, you can actually take some Scotch tape, apply it to that section you want to pull off. Once you get your napkin inside the frame, you do want to be sure to get rid of any wrinkles, flatten it out. If you don't have these tools, you can simply use your hands. Again, just make sure it's fitted to the frame and there are no wrinkles in there. Then we are going to take our parchment paper and we're going to cover the napkin. And once we have that covered, you're going to take an iron, whatever tool you have. This is my little Cricut iron, and just iron the napkin down to the frame. Make sure you get into those corners as well. Next, we're going to paint our wooden bunnies to look like Peeps. And as you can see, I started painting the yellow one and I didn't apply a white base, but you can see the brown shining through. So you'll see later on that I did go over that. But the other two, I did apply the white base. I just apply it to the face of the bunnies as well as the sides. And once you have those painted, you just dry those and you go in with your colors. I am using yellow, pink, and blue. To mimic the cute little marshmallow Peeps, you can use whatever color you decide. Some of them do come in a pastel purple. I am using, again, the yellow, pink, and blue. Just get full coverage on the sides and the face of all of your Peeps. You may need a second coat. I did add a second coat because the white was still showing through the paint on the pink one. You can see it in the video, and the blue one just a little. And this is where I went back to add that white paint to my yellow bunny so that we could get full coverage with the brown not showing through. So again, just go ahead and redo that with yellow paint on all sides and the face of the bunnies. And then once I finished with that, I did dry them, but then I figured I did want to go ahead and paint the back sides, even though you're not going to see the back sides once they're adhered to the frame. But just to make it cohesive, I did go ahead and paint the backs of all of the bunnies. Again, you're just going to add that white base to each one and then add your colors on top of that white base. So now we have the back finished as well. And then we can move on to our words. So we are going to take the script Peep, and of course we're just going to paint that in the yellow Peep color. I did add this to some tape to keep it from moving while painting it. Now I'm going to paint the word this. I added that to some painter's tape as well to keep it in place. I'm just going to use the colors from the Peeps to paint those. I also added lavender to the H because I wanted to pull that lavender color out of the napkin. And once you have all of those painted, you dry that up. And then we can move on with assembling our frame. So I'm going to take the frame, and the first thing I need to do is to measure the center to find out where my Peep is going to go. My first Peep I want to put in the center and then add the others onto the side. So I'm going to hot glue the first one down right at the bottom of the frame. Just make sure it is level and even with the base of the frame so that your frame stays level and doesn't tilt. And you add all 3 of your little bunnies onto the bottom of the frame, and then we can figure out where we want to put our letters. So I decided to put the Peep in the top corner and add the word this to the actual frame and figure out the placement for my clip. So again, we're just using hot glue to add that to the frame. You want to get your word into position, so I'm just going to put it straight across right below that P, and again we're just using hot glue to add each of the letters to the frame. Just make sure you space them evenly, but if not, it's still going to make a cute frame. So once we have all of our letters on, the last step is to go ahead and place that clip right in the center, and this is where you're going to add your picture once you're done. And once I finished, I decided to go ahead and add some bunny tails, and here's the finished product. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and comment.